Find 10% of 320. Well, 320 divided by 10 gives you 10%, which is 32. Write 0.8 a percentage. 0.8, change it to percentage, times it by 100. Okay, which is 80%. Last one, 84 divided by 3. 84 divided by 3. How many 3 goes into 8? Well, it's 2. 3 times 2 is 6, which means we've got 2 left over. How many 3's into 24? Now, if you've done a 3 times table, just write it out. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the answer is 28. Work out 0.17 times 6,000. Now, questions like this, I like to just ignore the decimal places and all the numbers. Okay, so I've actually got 17 times 6,000. Okay, 7 times 6, or 6 is a bit of a hard times table, I might not know how to do that, so I'm going to write my 6 times table 7 times. So 6, 12, 18, 24, 13, 36, 42, 48, 54, 60. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So I know 6 times 10 is 60. I know 6 times 7 is 42. Add them together. 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's 102. Add my 3 zeros. Now this is 17 times 6,000, by 0.17. So this number is like 10 times bigger, or 100 times bigger. So I need to make this one 100 times smaller. Okay, so I have to cancel those two out. The other way you can think about it is that there was 2 decimal places in my question here. So my answer only 1 decimal place, 2 decimal place, so it goes there. Either way, the answer is 102. Here's a square base pyramid. How many faces does it have? Right, faces are like the sides. So you think you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's going to be 5. How many edges does a pyramid have? Think about what edges like the end of it. Like you'd fall off an edge of a cliff. So you'd fall off an edge of a pyramid, you wouldn't fall off a corner. So it's how many lines essentially. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's got 8 edges. Okay, question 5. Write down the coordinates of point B. Well, B is 4 up, 5 across. So B is 4, 5. Find the coordinates of the midpoint of AB. Now, your midpoint, if I drew a straight line, it's going to be your middle point. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. But let's say that's 4, 5, because it is. And my other point, I'll show on this, because it's a bit easier to read it on this, is minus 2, 3. To get your midpoint, if you add them all both together, which gives me 2, 8, and then you halve it, that's going to be 1,4. And it sort of looks right, even on my rough drawing. So midpoint. And again, there is nothing wrong with when you're drawing it and then seeing where your middle point is. On a grid, draw the equation with y equals 3. Now you've got your x-axis and you've got your y-axis. Y equals 3 means that every y point is going to be 3. So it's actually going to be this one here that goes across. Okay, to 3. And I know it seems like counterintuitive because it's not parallel to your y-axis, but that's just the way it works. Here are instructions for making a drink. Add 100 millilitres of juice to 2 litres of water. Okay. Dev uses 5 litres of water to make a drink. How much drink has he made? Now just remember the drink is the millilitres of juice and the 2 litres of water. Okay, so that's what we need to think of. So I'm going to put 1 for juice, I'm going to put 1 for water, I'm going to put 1 for total. Total is your drink. So let's say the juice is, now we've got 100 millilitres. Because we're adding them in the end to get the total, I want to make them all the same. So we can either work in millilitres or we can work in litres. I'm going to work in millilitres, just because I can times 2 by 1,000, because there's 1,000 millilitres in a litre. A lot easier for me than doing 1,000 divided by 100. So I know 2 litres is actually going to be 2,000 millilitres, and my total is going to be 2,100. Okay. Now this is for 2 litres. Now what we really need, we need 5 litres, which is 5,000 millilitres. Now it helps out if we went for 1,000, because then I can times it by 5. To get to 2,000 to 1,000, I'll divide it by 2, which means this is 50 millilitres, which means my total is going to be 1050, and it works because 2,100 halved is 1050. Then to get from to 1,000 to 5,000, I times it by 5. 50 times by 5, well 5 times 5 is 25, add my 0. And when I add them up, I get 5,250 millilitres, and this is my answer here, 5,250. Okay. And you can get it exactly the same way by timesing this number here by 5. 8 identical pens cost £12, work out the cost of the 10 litre pens. So it's, if I know 8 is £12, I need 12 divided by 8. Okay. I'm going to do a long division for this, a short division. How many 8s going to 1? 0, carry the 1. How many 8s going to 12? It's 1. Remainder of 4. Now what I'm doing, I'm going to put loads of zeros, then this remainder 4 I don't have to put up here, I can put there in front of that 40. How many 8s into 40 is 5, so it's £1.5. I need 10 of these, so 1.5 times 10 is 15. We're talking about pounds, so the answer is going to be £15. Here are 5 fractions. Which one of these fractions is not equivalent to a quarter? So let's do this. So a quarter times the top and the bottom by 2, you get 2/8. Times the top and the bottom by 10, you get 10 over 40. 12 over 48, I'm going to write that down because that's a little bit harder to work out. I'll consider it later. 5 over 24, I'm going to write that down. 20 over 40, I times it both by 2 to get 2/8, and then times it by 10 again. So let's work out these two. So let's say 5 over 24, I'd have to times the top, I've got a quarter. To get the top to 5, I'd have to times the top by 5 and the bottom by 5, which will give me 5 over 20. So 5 over 20 is obviously the one. Let's do 12 over 48. 12 over 48. We've got a quarter. To get to 1 to 12, we need to times the top by 12 and the bottom by 12. Top becomes 12. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 1 is 4. So it's definitely 5 over 20. Okay, let's do a bit. 2/7 plus 1/14. Now, we can't add these at the moment because the denominators are different. So I need to make them equivalent fractions with the same denominator. There is a thing called cross multiplying, where you times 7 by 14, but you get some ridiculously big number. Lowest common multiple of 7 14 is 14. So I can actually change this to 14. This stays as 1 over 14. Because I've times the bottom by 2, I need to times the top by 2 to make it 4 over 14. So my answer is 5 over 14. Okay. My last one on this section, 4/5 divided by 3/10. Right, when we do this, we always do KFC, as in a chicken restaurant. Keep the first one, flip the second one, change the sign. Now we're multiplying fractions, which is a lot easier to do. 4 times 10 is 40. 5 times 3 is 15. It does say keep the answer in the simplest form, so we need to simplify this. Try and find any number that goes into the top and the bottom. Normally we go halving first because it's just the easiest thing to do, but that doesn't work because 15 is an odd number. But 5 goes into them both. So how many 5s go into 15 is 3. How many 5s that go into 40 is 8. See if I can cancel it down. I can't. Now 8 3s is in the simplest form, but I just like to change it as a mixed number. So how many 3s go into 8, which is 2, so big 2, because 3 times 2 is 6. I've got a remainder 2, so it's 2 2/3. Right, solve. So 3x plus 7 equals 1. Solve this, got -7, these cancel out. 3x equals 1 minus 7 is -6. Okay. To find this, got divided by 3, they cancel out, which gives me x equals -2. Let's just double check. -2 times 3 is -6, plus 7 is 1. I know that's right. Right, the second part. Right. If f equals 6 and g equals 5, work out the value of 3f minus 2g. So 3 times 6 minus 2 times 5. Let's just work this out a little bit. 3 times 6, so it's 6, 12, 18. Minus 2 times 5 is -10. 18 minus 2 is 10. Done. 18 minus 10 is 8. Write down 3 different multiples of 4 that add up to 14. Now to do this, I'm going to write down my multiples of 4, which is 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, and 40. Now I just have to look at it to see which ones can add up to 14. So I know 4 plus 16 is 20, and 20 is 40, so I could have 4 plus 16 plus 20. I could do 8 and 12, which is 20, plus 20. 8 plus 12 plus 20 equals 40, equals 40. What else can I do? 8 and 12, 4 and 16. That's all I can see, but I've got 2 options, either one is fine. Helen has 80 books to sell. Each book is fiction or non-fiction. The ratio of fiction books to the number of non-fiction is 3 to 1. Each book has a normal price of £10. Helen reduces the price of all the non-fiction books by half price. She then sells all 80 books. Work out the amount. Right, so let's say 3 to 1. Sorry, 3 to 1. Okay, I'm going to call this, so it's fiction, to non-fiction. Okay, now if we've got 80 books, let's divvy this up. 3 plus 1 is 4. We need to make this to 80. So 4 times 20 is 80. So I need to times both of these by 20 to work out how many it is. 1 times 20 is 20, so there's 20 non-fictions. And fiction is 3 times 20, which is 60. Let's just check. 60 plus 20 is 80, so I know that's right. Now, each book has a normal price of £10, and the non-fictional ones are half price. So these are going to be £10 each, so it's going to be 60 times 10, which is 600. Now this 20 is half price, so it's not 20 times 10, it's 20 times 5, because they're all half price. 2 times 5 is 10, add on a 0. Add them together is 700. Okay, so the total cost that Helen will receive will be £700. Okay. Ryan and Carl each get paid £60 per day. One day Ryan also gets a bonus of 25% of his basic pay. Carl gets £20 customers in tips. Work out the difference between the amount of money that Carl gets and Ryan gets. Right. So let's just do Ryan first. Ryan gets £60. Okay. And he also gets a bonus of 25% of this £60. Now, 25% of 60. Now, 25% is quite an easy number because it's a quarter of it. So I need to know what a quarter of 60 is, which is 15. So I need to add 15, which means Ryan gets £75. Okay, Carl gets his normal £60 and £20 tips from customers, which is £80. And the question is difference. Difference is subtraction. So the difference between 75 and 80 is 5. So the difference is £5. Some people ask if they like swimming, cycling or running. The table shows the results for males and the results for females. On the grid, draw a bar chart. Okay, I haven't got a grid because I'm using the whiteboard. But let's look at my biggest number is 8. So I need to know it has to go up to 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I can't count. So then I need bars going across. So I'm going to do one for... Now it doesn't matter which way you do it. It's going to be a compound. So I'm going to put swim. I'm going to put cycle. I'm going to put running. Okay. Now my bars are going to have to do one for male, one for me, female. So males 2. And I'm going to colour in the males as black. Females is 8. Goes all the way up to the top. For males is cycling for 6. And females is 5. So for cycling, males go up to 6. Colouring. And cycling, I'll go down to 5. And for running, it's going to be males is 4 and females is 5. 3, 4. We'll colour in. And females is 5. Okay. Now you have to put a key. So males, females, Let's label these axes. So this is the amount of people, and this is going to be the activity, and then it's going to put a title. I'm just going to put numbers who exercise. Now I've done it on a whiteboard, so it's hard to see, but it's important that you keep all these bars the same width. Okay. Now I've left a gap. It is also important that this gap is exactly the same. Okay, all the way through it. If you do all those things, that's right. So just remember to put the key. Remember the bars are the same width. Remember the gaps between them are the same width. If you don't want to leave a gap, you don't have to. Remember these are all nicely even scaled. I've gone up on ones, but you can go up in twos. Make sure that's labelled. Make sure your bottom's labelled. Give it a title, and that's everything you need for a bar chart. Okay, the second bit. Work out the percentage of the 30 people that are female. Right. So I'm actually just going to use this table again. If I add up all the females, I've got 18. Okay, so we know that's 30. So it changes to a percentage. Now there's a couple of ways we can do this. We can make the denominator into 100. Yeah, or we can do 18 divided by 30 times by 100. I'm actually going to try and make the denominator into 100. So first of all, let's cancel this down. And 3 actually goes into them both, which actually makes it 10. How many 3s into 18? Which is 6. Okay, then I know that's going to be 60 over 100. So the answer is actually going to be 60%. Table shows information about the ages of people at a party. Work out the total number who's aged 40 or less. Okay, people who are 40 or less is going to be these people, these people, these people. So 6 plus 16 plus 10. Okay, 6 plus 6 plus 0 is 12. Carry the 1. 1, 2, 3. So the answer is 32. Okay, second part of the question is Andy says the range of ages is 39 years because 50, take away 11, is 39. Explain why the range might not be 39 years. Explain why. Now what you've got to say is this group, even though it's 41 to 50, the youngest might be 41. The oldest might be 41. Okay, and this group, just because it's 11 to 20, these 6 people could be anywhere between that age. So the oldest person could really be 20. So you need to say in the group 11 to 20, the youngest may not be 20. So youngest may not be 11. Okay, and in 41 to 50, oldest may not be. And let's show off, let's just say it's possible the oldest is 41. And saying this 41 bit I feel is actually quite important because it shows you actually know that the range is younger than what it could be. Diagram shows quadrilateral ABCD. Is AB parallel to DC? You must give your reasoning. Okay, so what we're really asking is if this line here is parallel to that one there. Let me just label it up. Now, I don't think this is a parallelogram, okay, because we can prove these two are parallel without BC and AD being parallel. So don't go down the route of saying this is a parallelogram, so this must be 57, this is 120, because that's not strictly true. Now, there's a few ways you can look at this. Now, this angle here and that one there are actually allied angles. You can call them co-interior or supplementary. They have to add up to 180. If you can't remember that, if I carry this on, and this one here must be 57, again, because these two are corresponding. Either way, 120 plus 57 has to equal to 180, so let's add them up. 0 plus 7 is 7. We know it doesn't equal 180 because that's 7 already, but let's do the rest. 5, 6, 7, 1. So you have to say, so I'm going to say it's probably going to say angle ABC and BCD are not parallel as 120 plus 57 is not 180 thus ABC and BCD are not allied angles. Irina sells ice creams. One day she sells 80 ice creams. Next day she sells 108 ice creams. Work out the percent increase in the number of ice creams. Now, I always go for the ratio bar whenever I'm doing something. Now, it's quite a difficult question to have on a non-calculator. But so on one day she sells 80, is there? Which is your 100%. Because this is what it starts off as. And then the next day she sells 108. So we need to sort of work out what this number is. And this number here would be 100% more than that number. Okay, so normally what we'd do is I'd normally go to what £1 is. So I'd divide 100 by 80 to get to £1. I'll times it by 108. So I'd have to do 100, and then I would divide that by 80, and I'd times that by 108. So we need to work out the easiest way to do this without a calculator. Well, first of all, I'm going to cancel this fraction down. So it's 10 over 8, and then this 108, I'm going to times it to the top to make it 1080 over 8. Now, I could cancel this down, but the top number's a bit confusing. I don't know whether it's 540 or is it 5040. Okay, I know which one it actually is, so I'm actually going to do my long division for this. So 1080. And my 8 times table is a bit of a hard times table as well, so I'm actually going to write it down the side, which is 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, and if I need any more I can write it. 8 into 1 doesn't go, so I carry the 10. 8 into 10 goes once, and there's a remainder 2. 8 into 28, so it's 1, 2, 3. It's going to be 3. It's 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, which is a remainder 4. 8 is there, which is 40, which is going to 5. So this number here is 135%. Of course, obviously 135% isn't the percent increase, that's the percent of the original amount. So this number here is actually 35. So the answer is going to actually be 35%. Right. Dimitar has 20 sweets, Pip has 20 sweets. Dimitar gives Pip X sweets. Dimitar then eats 5 of his sweets. Pip then eats half of her sweets. Write down the expression. Right. So I've got Dimitar, which I want to use as D. And I want to use Pip as that. Okay, and let's work out. They both have 20 sweets. So both start off with 20. Okay, Dimitar gives Pip X sweets. So Dimitar, I'm minus an X. But these are given to Pip, so I'm plus an X there. Okay, Dimitar then eats 5 of his sweets, so we're minus 5. Okay, Pip then eats half of a sweet, so we're going to halve it. Write an expression for the number of sweets Dimitar and Pip have. That's essentially it. Right. Now we could simplify this. Dimitar, I could just do 20 minus 5, so I've got 15 minus X. Okay, Pip, I could change this around a little bit, so that equals 20 over 2 plus X over 2, and then that's 10 plus X over 2. But you don't have to simplify this, it doesn't say write the expressions in the simplest terms. The diagram shows a square with a perimeter of 16 centimetres. Work out the proportion of the area inside the square that is shaded. Okay, so if I know the perimeter is 16 centimetres, I know it's a square. If I do 16 divided by 4, I'm going to get the length of all of it. 16 by 4 is actually 16. So I know this is 4 centimetres, I know that's 4 centimetres. I know all of this is 4 centimetres, I know all of that is 4 centimetres. So we need to work out this bit here, which is the shaded area. And it might seem a bit of a complicated question, you need to try and divvy it up. They tend to go for triangles these days. So I'm actually going to split this up like here. So I've got one blue triangle, okay, and one black triangle. Now your black triangle, I'm going to use this as your base, I'm going to use that as your height. So I know for a black triangle, it's 2 times 4, which is your base times height divided by 2, which will actually equal 4 centimetres squared. Now for my blue triangle, I'm going to use this as my base, and that as my height. If you wanted to turn it around to look at it like that way, so that this is my base and that is the height, might help you out. I've got 3 times 4. I'm dividing it by 2. 3 times 4 is 12, 12 divided by 2 is 6, and then centimetres squared. And I add them up, so I know both the shaded area is going to be 10 centimetres squared. Okay. So now we need to work out the area of all of it. Okay. It's 4 times 4 is 16. So now it's 10 centimetres out of 16 centimetres. So if I want a proportion, your proportion, you've got to think of how it can be done. You can give proportion as a percentage, you can give it as decimal. I'm just going to keep it as a fraction, really. So I'm going to do 10 over 16. This is a perfectly acceptable answer. It doesn't say the answer's got to be in its simplest form. It just says, give me the proportion as shaded, which is 10/16. You can cancel this down to be 5/8, but either one's fine. Right, David has designed a game. He used a fair 6-sided die and a fair 5-sided spinner. The die is numbered 1 to 6. The spinner is numbered 1 to 5. Each player rolls the dice once and spins at the spinner once. A player can win £5 or £2. So they win £5 if they roll a 5 and spin a 5. They win £2 if they roll a 1 or spin a 1 or both. Okay? David expects 30 people will play the game. Each person will pay David £1 to play the game. Work out how much profit you expect. Now, there is more complicated ways to do this, but I think the easiest way is to go to a sample space diagram. So if I think of my dice, which is going to be numbered 1 to 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if you think my spinner is going to be numbered 1 to 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now, I don't really care about the actual outcome. All I care is if they roll a 5 and spin a 5, which is 5/5, they get £5. Okay. The other one is if they roll 1 or spin 1 or both, they get £2. This is 2, this is 2, this is 2, this is 2, this is 2. That is 2, that is 2, that is 2, that is 2, that is 2. All the rest of it you get nothing. So I'm just going to fill in nothing for every single other option. It's not the neatest of sample space diagrams. Right. So luckily, in my actual diagram, I have 30 combinations. And as he expects 30 people to play, this is the actual score that I'm going to get. So if I add this up, and I'm David, the actual total amount is what I expect to come out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, plus 5 equals 25. So he's going to pay out. So he's going to pay out £25. Now if we get the question back, he asked 30 people, so he's going to have 30 people charged £1. He's going to have £30 in. So if he has £30 coming in and he's going out £25, that means he'll make a profit of £5. That we expect him to make a profit of £5. And that's what the question says. Expect how much he's going to make. The second part to this question. Give a reason why David's actual profit may be different to the profit he expects to make. Now, what you have to put something on the lines is that that's what we predict to happen. It's not actually what's going to happen. Or the way that it's a probability and this is a random event, that it is possible for David to pay out £5 for every 30 goes. It's unlikely, but it is a good chance for that happening. Right. Triangle ABC has a perimeter of 20 centimetres. AB equals 7 centimetres, BC equals 4. By calculation, to deduce whether triangle ABC is right angle. So first of all, we need to work out the other side. So now 7 plus 4 plus another number is going to have to equal 20, because your perimeter is when you add up all the sides. 4 plus 7 is 11, plus a number equals 20. So this number's got to be 9. Okay, because now I know 11 plus 9 equals 20. So if I draw my right angled triangle, I know 9's my longest side, and 4 and 7. And it doesn't matter if I flip these two around. So if it is right angled, I know that all my trigonometry rules will suit. I know Pythagoras would suit. So I'm actually going to do Pythagoras, which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now, as long as c squared is my longest side, it should do. Okay, so this is 9 squared, this is 4 squared, and this is 7 squared. 9 squared is 81. So we need to make sure this side here equals 81. 4 squared is 16. 7 squared is 49. Okay, so 49 adds 16. So 9 plus 6 is 5. Carry the 1. We already know it's not right angled because these don't match up. But 4, 5, 6. 65 does not equal 81. And normally I need to have to put this is not right angled. As I'm going to put as a squared plus b squared does not equal to c squared. On a sheet of A3 card has an area of 1/8 metre squared. The card has a mass of 160 grams per metre squared. Work out the total mass of 25 sheets of A3 card. Now, people get confused with this when they see the word mass. They instantly think they need to use the mass density volume formula, but this question is a lot simpler than that. Now, what mass actually means is like the amount of materials in there. So if a card has a mass of 160, then an eighth of that is just going to be 160 times 1/8. Okay. To multiply these together out of a calculator, I like to change this as a fraction and do top by top, bottom by bottom, which gives me 160 over 8. Okay, so 160 divided. We can cancel this down. Let's say we halve them both to equal, which is over 4. 0, 16 halved is 8. Let's say I can halve that again, which will make it 40 over 2. And I halve that again, that'll make it 20 over 1. 20 over 1 is the same as 20. Okay, just if you want to do it that way. Now that's for what? That's for 1/8 of the big sheet. Okay, so A3 card is 20 grams. Okay, but I have 25 of them, so I need to do 20. I need to do 25 times 20. This is 20 grams. I've got 25 of them. So I know 2 times 25 is 50. Add on a 0. So my answer is 500 grams. Here are the first 5 terms of the sequence: 2, 8, 18, 32, 50. Find the next term in the sequence. So it's 2, 8, 18, 32, 50. Okay. Every time, work out your first level difference. So the difference between 2 and 8 is 6. So 8 and 18 is 10. 18 and 32 is 14. And 14 is 18. Now, you might think, oh, this is a bit different, because normally these are all the same. These are not the same, which shows it's a quadratic sequence. But we know that we can see a pattern here, so we know the next one's going to go up by 20, so 50, 60, 70. So my answer to question A is 70. So my next term is definitely going to be 70. Right. So the nth term of different sequence is 3n minus 10. So it's 3n squared minus 10. Work out the fifth term in the sequence. Now if you think about this, the n is a position of the terms. So really what we're doing is 3 times 5 squared minus 10. 5 squared is 25. 3 times 25 is 75. 75 minus 10 is 65. So my answer is 65. Write 504 as a product of its prime factors. So 504. There's a lot of ways how to do this, but the easiest way is a prime factor tree. So we split into two trees. Now you could just keep splitting down to factors, but I always like to see what prime numbers goes into 504. It's easier to start with your lower prime numbers and work your way up. Just remember prime numbers only have 2 factors. It's even, so I know 2 goes into it. So 2 times what is 504. I know 2 times 250 is 500, and 2 times 2 is 4. So I know this halved is 252. 252 is not prime. I know that because it's even. So I'm going to put 2 into it again. If you know other prime numbers that go into it, you can do. The order is not important. 252 divided by 2. I might need to do long division. 2 into 2 goes 1. 2 into 5 goes 2, with a remainder 1. 2 into 12 goes 6. That's 126. Again, we know it's definitely not prime because it's even. So I'll put 2 into it again. 2 into 126. 2 into 1 doesn't go, carry the 1 over. 2 into 12 goes 6. 2 into 6 goes 3. So now 63. Now this is not even anymore, but you want to think of your other prime numbers. 2 doesn't go into it. The next one is going to be 3. 3 goes into it. So how many 3s into 63? Well, 3 into 6 goes 2, 3 into 3 goes once. And then say 21, you might think 21's prime, it's not. I think 3 actually goes into it again. 3 times 7 is 7 prime, 7 is prime. So it's your prime factor tree. But again, the question did say, right, as a product of its prime factors. So I need to finish it by doing 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 7. Now this is the answer. Okay, but if you want to put it in indices form, 2 cubed times 3 squared times 7. If the question doesn't ask for it in indices form, we don't have to put it in indices form.